Picture this. You're scrolling your feed and you see this pristine gravel bike leaning against a pine tree.
Right, the classic Instagram aesthetic.
Exactly. It practically screams, I drink artisanal coffee in the woods. But if you take that same trendy bike onto like a 10-kilometer stretch of ancient ankle-snapping Roman cobblestones in Portugal, are you actually going to survive?
I mean, honestly, probably not.
Right. So today's deep dive is unpacking an op-ed from Cycling Rentals titled Hardtail versus Gravel Bikes. We're looking past that whole filter to figure out the ultimate machine for rugged, multi-day bikepacking. I mean, is the gravel bike just a fashion statement compared to the classic 29er hardtail mountain bike?
To really answer that, you have to look at the physical reality of the terrain, specifically what we call the Iberian factor.
The Iberian factor,
Yeah.
meaning Spain and Portugal.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you're riding through there, a single hour might take you from smooth asphalt to like a deep sandy tractor path and then straight into a brutal cobbled climb.
And that 10-kilometer Roman road is just a massive reality check. I mean, imagine your wrists vibrating over ankle-snapping boulders for 6 hours on a rigid gravel bike.
Oh, you'd be reaching for the ibuprofen instantly.
Completely. But a 29er hardtail gives you 100 millimeters of front suspension to just soak up that abuse. Plus wider 2.25-inch tires. I was actually looking at the geometry of those larger 29-inch tires, and it really comes down to the angle of attack.
Right, the physics of it.
Yeah, think of pushing a tiny skateboard wheel against a street curb versus rolling a giant tractor tire into it. The massive curve of the 29-inch tire hits the boulder higher up, so it glides over like a speedboat hitting waves.
Which is such a massive mechanical advantage. When the wheel rolls over an obstacle rather than slamming into it,
Yeah.
you maintain your forward momentum instead of getting wedged in the gap.
Wait, I get the energy-saving thing off-road, totally. But the second you hit a 20-mile stretch of smooth Spanish highway, doesn't that mountain bike feel sluggish? Like, am I not bleeding energy pushing those massive tires on the pavement?
You'd think so, yeah. But what's fascinating here is how we calculate total efficiency over a multi-day trip.
Okay, how so?
Well, you definitely lose aerodynamic speed and roll efficiency on the pavement. But mathematically, that aerodrag is a fraction of the energy you waste off-road on a rigid frame.
Oh, interesting.
Every jolt that your 29er suspension absorbs is kinetic energy your body doesn't have to spend fighting the trail.
So if the suspension is saving our upper body from absorbing all those hits, what is it doing for our legs? Because dragging 15 kilos of gear up a 15% grade in the Galician hills is just sheer physics.
Oh, yeah. And that's where gearing dictates your survival. Gravel bikes usually max out at like an 11:45 tooth ratio in the back cassette.
Right.
So for every pedal stroke, you're still moving a fair bit of distance, which means you're putting out high wattage just to keep the pedals turning. But a mountain bike gives you a much smaller chain ring up front, the classic granny gear.
Oh, right. So you're spinning your legs faster but moving shorter distances?
Yes, exactly.
Mathematically, that requires significantly less wattage per pedal stroke. So you can spin your way up a punishing climb at the end of the day instead of grinding your knees into dust.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It changes the trip from an athletic sufferfest into an actual vacation.
And speaking of, making it a vacation, the physical space on the bike is a huge factor. Bikepacking is fundamentally an exercise in packing logistics.
Oh, 100%.
Prop bars on a gravel bike really restrict your bag width, but flat mountain bike bars?
You get massive real estate up there.
Right. You can mount a huge dry bag, your GPS, your snacks, and you get to maintain an upright posture to actually see the stunning landscapes and the local goats.
Yeah, the goats are great. But that flat handlebar real estate isn't just about luggage capacity, though. It's a critical safety feature for bike handling.
Wait, really? Safety?
Yeah. If you've ever ridden a lightweight gravel bike loaded down with heavy panniers, you know it gets incredibly twitchy. Mountain bikes are designed with a longer wheelbase and the wide leverage of flat bars.
Oh, I see.
So when you are flying down a loose, gravelly descent, that leverage means you are telling the bike where to go, not the other way around.
Which prevents that terrifying speed wobble. And that brings us to getting you and the bike to the trailhead in the first place, because flying with your own bike can be an absolute nightmare.
Oh, it's wildly expensive.
So expensive. And there's a 50% chance your derailleur arrives looking like a pretzel.
Which is exactly why renting a well-maintained 29er locally is often the smartest move. It really is the SUV of the bike world.
The SUV of the bike world. I love that.
Yeah. Stable, it carries all your gear comfortably, and it simply doesn't care if the trail gets ugly.
But, there's one tiny detail from the source we found that I just can't stop thinking about. Touring on an electric bike.
Ah, right.
It gives you the rugged capability of an MTB, but with the legs of a pro cyclist. It makes you wonder, with the rapid rise of e-bikes, is this entire mechanical debate between gravel and hardtail going to be completely obsolete for future bikepackers?
That is a very good question.
Right. Will we all just be drinking our artisanal coffee in the woods while a battery does all the heavy lifting? Something for you to ponder before your next adventure.